Here at the Extreme Channel, we've been on a Hulk kick lately. And as I look at this one, I wonder what he's pondering. You know, is he looking at his fist? Is he looking at his enemy? How cool would that be that you are such a badass, you just look at your fists and you wonder, I wonder whose ass I'm gonna kick. Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to my channel. Today we're looking at an incredibly rare 1/4 scale custom Hulk statue. This was a private unlicensed commission, and as you can see, this was based off of the Marvel Vs Capcom video game. It's that version of Hulk, and not only that, but it's kind of the player 2, the variant. So that's why you see he's kind of gray and blue. And he's shaking a little bit here because he is so much bigger than my turntable. Now, he's not a new piece to my collection. I've probably had him for, I want to say, anywhere from 12 to 24 months. I'm not quite exactly sure. But I wanted to review him because I've been doing tons of Hulk videos lately. Check out my most recent one right here. And I'm a big collector of Hulk. I think Hulk is one of the ultimate superheroes. Growing up as a kid, he was always my favorite because he's indestructible. I, of course, like playing him in the Marvel vs. Capcom game. And I actually own 3 different Marvel vs. Capcom pieces. And just like this one, they're all incredibly rare. Of all the ones I own, they made less than 10 in that specific variant. So you have this Spider-Man right here. It's kind of a retro, so he actually has black on his costume. And that's my newest one, even though that one is still probably about a year old. Then I also have this Venom. Again, it's kind of the player 2 version. Very cool looking, MvC. And I've owned that for probably 3 years, I want to say. Now, while I don't have these displayed next to each other, I have Spider-Man with Spider-Man, Venom with Venom, and Hulk with Hulk pieces. They're all here at the office. And you can check out an old tour of the office right here, although in the next few months I will be doing a new one for you because about 50% of it has changed. So as I said, they're all incredibly rare. So when it's a private unlicensed commission like this, they usually make less than 100. And we'll talk about the edition size when we get to design, because we're gonna do a full review on this guy today. And let's start off of the bat with the concept of this piece. And to be honest with you, I think it's a little bit of a miss, specifically from the base. So you have a black outer museum style base on the bottom, and a lot of pieces that come from this particular group have very similar things, but they've been switching it up lately. The older ones were all black museum style base. This is kind of a combination of both, because you can see on top of it, you have some rocks. Now with the rocks too, you see a little bit of gray coming out, almost like it's this gamma power where he stomped, he smashed up the bricks. I do like that part of it. But as you move up even further, he is fully Hulk, and he doesn't have shorts on. He actually had jeans. His jeans are still contained down to his ankles. Now, I don't know how accurate this is to the MvC game. I'd have to take a closer look, but it still looks good. It's just not traditionally what you see. Traditionally, Hulk's pants are cut right around his knees, but he is fully bulked out, muscle builder type body. And what I like is it's not one of those bodies that is 0% body fat. It is still ripped to the core. You move up, everything is fully sculpted. It looks fantastic. And then he's in that huge iconic pose we talked about. Almost like he's bored with his opponent. He's like, I will smash you next, I have no problem. He's a little bit pissed as well. I think it's a good combination of those two expressions together. And it's just a badass looking Hulk. It's also a very humanoid looking Hulk. So you see a lot of elements of Bruce Banner as well. It's not like some of the caveman Kirby Hulks I've been reviewing lately. So I like the fact that it's completely different. My biggest gripes with this piece are the base. Some of it's the size, which we'll talk about in design, but it doesn't match any of the rest of the line. I hate this big outer museum base. The rocks don't tell really a huge story, but as you've seen in a lot of the Hulk reviews lately, that's all they have for bases is just rocks. You know what would have been awesome? If they put a fire hydrant in here. Then it would have been the best statue ever. His size is awesome as well, and I think that ties a little bit into the concept. As much as I love this piece, it's actually one of my favorites. I still think the concept's a 3 out of 5. There is nothing really amazing about it. Now, while there are still a few issues with design, the rest of the categories are going to be fantastic. But let's talk about the design. Now, while I unboxed this a few years ago, I did reassemble it because I did take it apart just to move it to this table. So check out that. Kind of crazy, a bald looking Hulk. You want to see that again? Check it out right here. So the size on this base is just monstrous, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with the design. It's almost 27 inches in diameter. Now the height on Hulk is, we're gonna have to do a little bit of math here. He's a little over 2 feet tall, and the base is about 5 inches. So for you math majors, that's about 29 inches or so. Now this base just takes up so much space, it's just too big.
Hey, that's what she said.
They should have found a better way to do it. I understand most of their MvC bases are in a circular, like an oval or a circle like this. It makes displaying this extremely difficult, and to me it just takes up too much room. It's a huge knock on it. There are no switch outs or anything like that, and I don't think there needs to be, but it's such a bummer that this base is so big. Could they have cut it in half like right here? Now you do have a lot of display angles for him. See, he can display well right here. He can display well right here. So I guess 2, that's not really a lot. Unless you're talking about minutes and how long you can last. Everything fits together really well, which I appreciate. But that's about it when you talk about the design. There's not too much going on there. So I think the design also, it's simplistic. I think the design honestly is a 2 out of 5 on this piece because the base just takes up too much room. It's hard to pair with other characters because of that. I would have liked to see a custom base. Now you can take him out. As you saw during the assembly, he actually has keys on the bottom of his feet. So you could probably cut those keys off if you're really skilled and have him just sit by himself. That would be okay. It's a shame that the feet weren't the female part and the keys weren't on the base. Then you could just display them like I have done with some of my Prime 1 Transformers. All right, now we're gonna jump into the paint and sculpt, and this is why this is one of my favorite pieces. It is phenomenal. I really love every part of this, other than the black style museum casing on the outside. And you'll see a few nicks on mine throughout it, and that's because this has been moved multiple times, unfortunately, but they're easy repairs if I ever decide to sell this, which I don't think I will because of this. Check it out. All right, so we're not gonna focus on too much of the black museum base, this outer coating. I just don't like it. You see a few nicks that I talked about with the smudges. But on the bottom base, a few things here. First, I love the gray. Like I said, it's almost like that gamma power because he smashed so hard. I love how the rocks have formed around his foot that he just landed, or maybe he's that heavy. I think that adds to it. The rest is almost like a moon-like surface with some of the craters. I'm not sure on the choice of colors. You have a mix of reds and browns. It doesn't look bad at all, and I think it contrasts the statue well. Again, I'm just not sure what the reference point was. But some of it does have a little bit of a plasticky effect. And I think that's part of the sculpt, but the issues I have with the sculpt and the base are completely gone when you look at the Hulk. I love the sculpt on Hulk. Overemphasized feet, you see the bones in there. And then the shading, you'll see that all throughout. Just like most Hulks, they have black shading in the indentions of his muscle. You see a few veins running through as well. And I like the anatomy choice. So like I said, he's very stocky, almost reminds me of, the Hungry Strongman contests. So not 100%, like you don't see a 6-pack there, it's more of a 4-pack. But this shading on the gray just looks fantastic. The vein work, the muscles, look at those huge biceps. And what I like about this, and you see it in the ripped pants where he's, kind of coming through, it's like he was human and turning into the Hulk is stretching his body to the limits. I mean, look how big his calf muscles are down here. And again, this is based off of the video game, so it's clearly not a human-based anatomy, which, Hulk is a human. I love the pants. I think they did a great job how stretched they are, how dirty with the black shading in between. They have this awesome texture on them. Even the buttons in his pockets right there. And check out the belt. The belt's ripping as well. And this is fully sculpted, even though it doesn't look like it is. The buckle on the front. Probably the buckle's a little bit too big if you think about concept. Unless this, for Bruce Banner, that buckle was probably the size of his head. Now he doesn't have the shirt on right here, but look how big the pockets have stretched out. So if you like a Hulk statue that's very accurate to what a true transformation would be, this is not for you. But if you're just appreciating this for the paint and sculpt of what they went for, that's what I like about it. I'm a big fan. His fingernails right there. Here's a shot of the back muscles, just totally roided out. Check out the blue hair. I like that. I like the blue highlights in the hair. Parts his hair in the morning before he kicks some butt and smashes. I think the portrait is awesome. I really like it. You see a lot of those human features we talked about. Even some veins right in there. And I think this is why I like this piece so much, because it is different. And that's what makes it stand out. The lighter color of gray, that almost has that subtle blue hint to it in the skin. It flows really well. And then the anatomy. I think he's my only Hulk with a 4-pack. I have some with a 6-pack and some with a no-pack. So making it incredibly different. And it just reminds you of the game as well. The green variant of this looks amazing too. I was torn between these two, but this was the last gray one left, so I decided to jump on that. But the green one is also a huge knockout of the park. Actually, here's a picture of the green one. We'll end the paint and sculpt with that. So let's go with the sculpt first. I think it is awesome. Like I said, I don't know how accurate it is to the specific character, and you got to remember this is a 3D detailed version instead of a 2D animated version on a video game screen. So I think the sculpt is 5 out of 5. I love what they did with him. I like the anatomy choices on him, and he just looks very stoic. The paint as well, I'm actually really impressed with that. Like some of the detail we saw on the jeans, you know, not really a lot going on with Hulk, but what's done is looks really good. And the base here as well, I'm a fan of that. So I think the paint's a 4 out of 5 on this. Really well done, especially for factory paint. Now we'll talk about value on this piece. So you saw on the bottom they made 60 of these, but they only made 7 of this gray variant. So it is incredibly rare. And it was about $1,600. I think it was a little over $1,000 for the retail, then like $500 shipping. And this was pre-COVID times, so the box is absolutely humongous. So you're $1,500, $1,600 all in. I could easily get that back. I think I could get $2,000 for him because he's so unique, because the paint and sculpt is so good, because he's so rare. So I think that the value is a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Now, with that being said, this comes from a commissioner that there's a lot of drama around. I don't purchase things from there anymore. I personally never had any issues with that commissioner, but for personal reasons, I no longer purchase any of the pieces. Does this statue have the X factor? Is it a 5 out of 5 statue? I think it is. This is incredibly cool, and when I put it with my Hulk pieces, I have 3 other awesome gray Hulks. I think I like this one the best. This one really stands out because it's modernized, it's different. The pose is simple yet powerful. This is a 5 out of 5 statue to me. I'm a really big fan of this. I'm not sure why, I absolutely love it. Maybe it's because it takes me back to my childhood with some of the video games. Let me know in the comments what you think. Am I hitting the nail on the head? Am I completely off? If you haven't, make sure you've liked this video. Also, subscribe to the channel because there's tons of cool stuff like this we drop daily. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.